looking like he's got one more good run. Zips a little shaky, but his heart is still true. Oh, how that dog loves hunting with me and you. Sporting Dog Adventures, run, boy, run. Everything you need is here under the sun.
The Sporting Dog Adventures podcast is proudly brought to you by Soggy Acres Retrievers. Whether you're looking for a black, yellow, or chocolate Labrador Retriever puppy, please check out our website for more information at www.soggyacres.com. You can also email Jeff at sportingdogtv@gmail.com or call 262-215-9683. And remember, everyone deserves a Soggy dog. Hey, welcome to the Sporting Dog Adventures podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Fuller, and we have a great episode here for you today. So in today's show, I wanted to talk about how training was an overall process, with that concept being that we had several people call about having problems with their dog and tried to tell them they needed to go back to step one and start training in a process, but they wanted a quick fix for the issue they had, and how you needed to do an overall training network/process to get a dog to behave in all types of situations, and there wasn't just a quick fix for one specific problem that you have. After that, I wanted to talk about dangerous plants for your dog that are common in your landscaping, and finally, talk about habitat and doing waterfowl food plots. So a fun show, and we will have a lot to go on for today. So first up, I wanted to talk about the concept of fixing behavioral problems. In specific, we had a client that contacted us that were having problems when the dog was home alone when people left, and they asked about separation anxiety. Now, it's hard to identify what something is specifically when you can't see a dog and can't have a dog live within your own house. But with that said, with dogs, we always instruct people to crate train dogs. And crate training is useful on several different levels. One, it's great for potty training. You teach a dog to hold it, to go outside, and do that with the use of a crate. The crate is just big enough for the dog to lay down and be comfortable, but not so big that the dog can go on one end and sleep in the other. And it also gives the dog their space. When you have a crate, you tell the family, kids, everyone, hey, the dog's in their crate. Leave them alone. Don't bother them. Let them have their own area. It also is great for getting the dogs ready so that they can be in a crate at night when you're sleeping, and so that they can be in a crate when you are not home, when you're at work or away at the store or family or whatever. The problem these folks had was they said they had separation anxiety. When they put the dog into the crate, the dog would throw a complete fit and work itself up to the point where it was having accidents in the crate and making a big mess and being quite vocal when they went to work. So I tried to explain, you need to go back. You need to get to the point where you're putting the dog in the crate while you're home, an hour in the crate, hour out of the crate. That's how we suggest and instruct people to work on with puppies. And then from there, get it to where it's 2 hours in the crate, 2 hours out of the crate, and build up that time so that the dog is not only in a crate when you're not home, but in a crate when you are home. It works well because a dog is a den animal. They get to the point where they're comfortable in that crate and they like being in it. It also gets them to the point where they understand no matter how much of a fit they throw, whether you're home or not home, it is not going to change the fact that they are going to be in that crate. And it also allows for you to correct the dog if they're being quite vocal or naughty, where you can grab them by the muzzle, squeeze. Yes, it has to hurt a little bit so that they understand, wow, this is uncomfortable. Tell them no, quiet, and then put them back in the crate. When you correct them as puppies, they get used to this concept as a dog, and it just puts them in a better chance and a better position for success. Now, the conversation went back to, but I need this fixed for when I go to work. And it was trying to explain, no, this is a concept. You're building their training. And you start by building it with an hour in the crate, hour out of the crate. And then we make that time longer, and we build toward the point where the dog is going to behave when you are gone for 8 hours. But you can't just have a quick fix of fixing it right away. Whenever we look at any training, you always have to build a foundation. You always have to start small and build bigger, like a house. You're starting with that foundation on your house and you're building up. When you are looking at training a hunting dog, I always explain it as you're starting with your obedience, your e-collar work, and your trained retrieve, and then you're building up from there. People will try to skip one of those 3 steps, and then they don't understand why their dog fails when they're out in the field. It's the same with pet training. You have to start them so that they understand that it's a process. And as they walk through this process, you're building that base, and they're understanding that they have to behave during certain times. Dogs are smart, but we can't expect them to be smart only when you want them to be. It's a concept, I guess, that would be easy to explain when you think of a dog jumping. I will have people that'll say, I don't want my dog to jump on other people. It's okay if they jump up on me and greet me, but they can't do that to my 90-year-old grandma. And you try to explain to people, no, dogs don't think that way. They're not that smart. If you don't want a dog to jump, and they shouldn't jump on people, you don't let them jump on anyone. You will invariably have family members who say, it's okay if they jump on me, and you have to explain, no, they just don't jump on people, period. If you want to interact with your dog, you can get down on one knee, you can sit, you can lay on the ground, but dogs need to understand when people are standing, we do not jump. So if you think of that as we build a training program for you and your dog, you have to understand that there isn't a quick fix for one thing. This is conceptually where you're teaching a dog negative and positive reinforcement. This is what I want you to do, and you're teaching them to learn. And it's a process that is done over weeks and months as opposed to one specific incident. If you're trying to teach a dog in a moment, many times, you're not doing aversion training where you're teaching a dog how to get out of a correction. You're simply punishing. And that's where it's going to be less effective. So I hope that unmuddies the water for people, because we've had several contacts in the last week and many over a month. We get it's a very common question. So I hope that helps you. Next up, I wanted to talk about dangerous plants that people will have in their landscaping and around their properties that you need to watch out for with your dogs. And we're going to end with some habitat work on waterfowl food plots. All that and more coming up after this. When my family is looking for a new or used vehicle, we only shop at the Boucher dealerships in Janesville, Wisconsin. We've bought 7 vehicles now. Ford, Chevy, and Ram, all from Boucher. They have a knowledgeable staff, they're friendly, and they give you a great price. And remember, Boucher will ride with you every mile. The Sporting Dog Adventures podcast is proudly brought to you by Soggy Acres Retrievers. Whether you're looking for a black, yellow, or chocolate Labrador Retriever puppy, please check out our website for more information at www.soggyacres.com. You can also email Jeff at sportingdogtv@gmail.com or call 262-215-9683. And remember, everyone deserves a Soggy dog. Hey, welcome back to the show. So, let's talk about plants. I just had a client that almost lost a dog due to a severe infection the dog got. And they have no idea how the dog got the infection. It was in its body cavity. They don't feel that it was from outside of the dog's body, but they don't know how it could be from the inside. I brought up the point that he should look at his landscaping and look around his property, because there is something very common that hunting people will talk about when dogs get problems, infections in body cavity, nasal infections, and so on. And that is called foxtail. It's a grass, and the seed actually will go into the dog's body just by breathing. And you will have people that will get infections in the dog's nasal cavity, and the dog's brain. I've heard of spine, lungs, throat, all these different issues from the seed on this grass plant. It is actually a really beautiful plant. It grows naturally. We have it at our property up in central Wisconsin, and I have to hit it with Roundup and mow it and make sure it's not there, because dogs go up and they smell everything, and this gets into their system and it can kill them. It is a type of seed that gets into their lungs, will go through their lung membrane. And again, I've known people that had infections within the body cavity all the way into the spine. He's going to check on that with his landscaping, because I don't know if it's used for landscaping, but it is a beautiful plant, so I'm assuming it is. And I also told him to check on another plant, and this was another experience I had, so that he could make sure his landscaping was safe. And that is, the plant is Japanese yew. I believe it's YEW. It's an evergreen plant, very common, more back in the 70s and 80s, but I believe it's still around. And this evergreen plant that is in landscaping, if a dog eats it, it is toxic and will kill them. It can even, to give you an idea, horses eat everything. If a horse eats one mouthful, it kills them. The reason I know is I was buying a puppy from a kennel. They contacted me. The person's like, hey, the puppy passed away. We don't know what happened. And ultimately they did an autopsy. And the puppy, because puppies eat everything, was playing in their landscaping in the backyard, ate a piece of it. It was toxic and it killed the dog. So these are different things that you need to worry about when you have your landscaping, when you have your dogs outside. We always talk about puppy proofing and dog proofing your house, but there are many things out in your yard that can be dangerous, and these are two of them. So I hope that helps. Next up, I wanted to talk about a way that you can make your waterfowl property more attractive to ducks and geese, and that is waterfowl food plots. We'll have all that and more coming up after this. If you love the shooting sports like I do, you need to check out our friends at Mech Outdoors. They have fantastic products, whether you're looking at shot shell or metallic reloading, or you want to get yourself a clay thrower so you can practice up for the season. For more information, check out their website at mechoutdoors.com. It's Jeff Fuller from the Sporting Dog Adventures podcast, and I need a little help. Please stop what you're doing and give us a 5-star rating. Follow us on the platform you're on. Give us a thumbs up. And above all, share our podcast with your friends and family. Our podcast will grow even more, and we can get more people involved in the sport we love with dogs in the field. Thank you so much for your help. Hey, welcome back to the show. It's time for the hunting tip portion of our show, and it is time to talk about hunting season and how to make it better. Waterfowl food plots are something that most people don't do. I've tried with varying success. I've got sago pondweed, which is a weed that ducks eat. That has gone great. We've got a lot of coontail, which ducks love because there are snails and different things they eat that live in the coontail plus the seeds. We've tried rice in the past and had a property that had a ton of rice on it. that has worked okay, but it is something where a lot of it comes down to water levels, your different climate, and how your property is set up so that you can make it better. To me, much like with deer food plotting, it is something that I just think is fun. It's like a game to me to make my property more attractive. It's part of success in hunting, but it's also just part of seeing if you can affect change to make things better. And it is something that I really enjoy. So if you want, try to find a local seed manufacturer for finding things that will grow in your waterfowl food plots. There are a lot down south. There's not as many up in northern Wisconsin. I've actually had luck by finding plants, arrowhead, which is duck potato, wild rice, sago pondweed, finding plants from a local person, but I've also found them out in the wild. And then transplanting so that you can actually have something that is from your zone so that you know that it's going to grow and it's going to winter and it's going to come up the next spring. It is just something that overall, when you are part of nature and you're trying to improve your habitat, yes, you're going to get success, but it is just as gratifying when you see that you've improved it and you've got more waterfowl, more deer, more whatever your quarry is in your area because of the fact that you're putting time in. So try looking at some different things you can do for waterfowl food plots, and I think you'll really enjoy hunting a little bit more. Thank you so much for listening to today's show. Remember, get out, spend your time with your kids. You will never be upset by having more pictures and more memories. It is something that I am glad I have done in the past. Wished I would have done more. Get ready for season. Get yourself in shape. Get your dogs in shape. Thank you again so much for listening. Everyone have a great week and God bless.
Sporting dog adventures run